What's up, boys and girls? Welcome to Music City Model Works. I want to do an update on the actually a twofold video. First of all, I want to do an update on the excuse me, the '64 Impala, Foose Impala that I've had going. I know you remember from the last video that I did on the car. I had it's completely finished except for painting the body. Had the interior done, motor done, exhaust, everything assembled together. Just all it liked was the painting the body and final assembly. Ran into a little setback. I got everything painted. Got the Texas White Lightning one coat pearl lacquer on the top. Did that one night. Cleared that with my future. I let that sit. Actually let that sit for 2 days just to be on the safe side. I had actually had one coat actually handling it the next day after a 24-hour dry, handling the car around the edge of the window trim. I've left fingerprints before using the one coat where your hand gets hot and you start to leave impressions in the paint. Even though it's dried for 24 hours, it's still, if you hold it, especially if you're holding it in one place for a long period of time, the body heat off of your hands or whatever will sometimes leave fingerprints. And so I let it sit for 2 days, and then I went back and I masked off the top, and I applied the folk art antique copper craft acrylic, metallic craft acrylic for the body color. Everything turned out great. Did 4 coats. Did a light mist coat to where the body was not completely covered. Come back around to the where I started. Went back with another mist coat. Started a heavy coat on my 3rd pass, and then a little heavier coat by the 4th pass. So had that done. Let that sit. Let it dry for a couple of hours. Came back, checked on it. Looked great. Laid down smooth. Went ahead that night after I let it sit for about an hour or so, and I put 2 good coats of future. Well, at least thought I had. Put it up, let it sit the next day. So got ready to do my bare metal foil. I didn't have any. Got to looking, I thought I had some, didn't have any. Make a long story short, I went the old school route and got some non-heavy duty aluminum foil from Walmart. Got some future glue, which I keep on hand as adhesive for like door handles, side mirrors, chrome, taillight assemblies, that kind of thing, where you want some put adhesive, but you don't want like super glue, on your close to your paint job, where if you make a bad move with one of your mirrors or whatever, and it, you don't put it exactly where you want it or where it needs to go, you drop it and it hits and it messes your paint up a little bit, whatever. If you're not familiar with how to do this, you just take some future, put it in like one of these airbrush jars, leave the top off of it, let it sit for about a month or so. Eventually it will turn into, let me get away from this white, eventually it will turn into kind of a milky looking honey stuff. It's like honey. And you just take a brush and apply it wherever you want. Now it's not, it's tacky enough to hold something in place for for you to get it in there for the time being, but you don't want to do a lot of handling with it, because it doesn't take anything to knock it loose. It has to sit for a while before it actually becomes strong enough to to be moving or handling the model or whatever. It's great because that should be the last thing you do. You put your trim on, put it in your case upon your shelf. You're not going to be playing with them, I hope, anyways. And be done with it, and then it will be fine. But anyway, so I use that for my adhesive, and what I do is I'll just, I'll take a brush and apply it to wherever I want my foil at. Put the foil down, just, cut my pieces however big I want them and put them down and burnish them down just like you would normal bare metal foil. Make a long story short, evidently I had not cleared one section of the front. It was on the driver's side, from about the front of the door trim, of the door panel line rather, on the trim that's on the front fender, on the driver's side fender. I got to putting the foil down, and I was moving it around a little bit, and the paint started to wetten up where I'd put the future. The acrylic, craft acrylic, started to get a little bit wet. Well, make a long story short, it wound up pulling the paint started to get wet, and it was becoming, started to come a little tacky, and it began to come, just become wet. So I just pulled the foil off and took me a paper towel with some water and a little rubbing alcohol, and I just decided to take from the door panel line to the front and just wipe all that off, and all the way down to the bare plastic. So, and I did not primer the car. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Most times I don't when craft acrylics involved. But at any rate, I did not, and so I got it down to the bare plastic. I thought, well, I'll just load me up some paint in my airbrush and, shoot it again, see what happens, and see if you can tell the difference on this fender panel here versus the rest of the car, the top of the fender, and between that and the door, and see if, if it looks any different. Well, I shot 4 coats just like I did the whole body, mist coat, a little heavier mist coat, then my wet coat, and then another wet coat. And I let it set a little longer between, since I only had that little part to do in between coats. So I put it up that night, let it set, come back the next day, and if you hadn't been here, you would have never known that anything had happened. So the next day, after I had cleared it, I cleared it the next day, I let it set another day. I thought, well, I'll just mask off all my trim, or mask up beside it. Now I'll take my silver leafing marker from Hobby Lobby, Krylon, and I'll just do my trim work with this. Now this looks, you probably won't be able to tell it on here, but it does look pretty good as far as, you shake it up, sounds like a paint can almost. It's got a little BB in it, and you mash the tip down to get it going, and then you have something similar to chrome. But at any rate, and this is enamel paint that's in this paint pen. So I masked it off, and I took my pen and I just ran it over the trim that I had isolated off with my masking tape. Come back about 20 or 30 minutes later, started to peel the masking tape up. Well, what had happened, the enamel paint in the pen had gotten underneath the tape and gotten onto the acrylic paint, almost the length of the wheel well, right up under the trim, to the point to where, and also up on the top too, some, not quite as bad, but it was on it enough to where it was, there was no way to cover it up. No way to cover it up at all. I mean, I could have tried to shoot it again, and but it wouldn't have worked, and I didn't want to take that chance on trying to do it that way. One hint to you when you're using masking tape: whatever tape you're going to mask off areas with that there is a fine line that needs a fine, good, clean edge that needs to be put down, don't use that tape. Don't take that tape and just throw it in your supply box or like down on your tabletop. What happens is when you do that, you drop your tape, it puts little dents in the tape. You can't see it, maybe by the naked eye, but what happens when you put this tape down, where those little dents are, or those indentations or whatever, that tape it may look smooth and it may feel smooth, but it is not completely smooth, and something like this will happen to you. One of your paint colors, that you're trying to do a two-tone on, will come up underneath your paint, or something like this. You want to keep your good tape that you use for your clean edges. You want to use it and put it up. I keep my frog tape, and I should have used it. I don't know why I didn't. I grabbed this, and I thought, well, I'm going to use it in the marker, and I'm not going to just soak the tape. I'm going to use it for, in case I accidentally, I'm going to try to do it like the tape's not there and make as clean a mark as I can. But it didn't make any difference. And the thing, too, is about these pens, these silver leafing pens, or any paint pen for that matter, is these pens, once you shake them up, and these tips, like I said, I don't know, these tips, without getting all over my hand, these tips, when you mash on them, the ink runs out. And when you start to push with them and run the pen to do your marking, the paint starts to flow, and it starts to flow quick. So you can't be, dilly-dallying, being just as easy as you can be, as you want to be, because what will happen is you stop in one place, you're going to get an ink run. It's going to start running out as fast as as long as you're holding it there, and it's going to run out fast. So you have to really get to moving when you're using these. These are not for real tedious areas and areas that you're going to want, a super clean edge. But if I'd have used the frog tape, I'd probably be, okay. But another lesson to you if you're learning about craft acrylics. I've said it, and I know the others, Chris Chapman, Chris Classic Plastic, and I know you've heard this probably 100 times between the three of us. If you don't listen to anything else, listen to this. Clear your craft acrylic. Once I realized what had happened, I picked the car up and I held it up to the light, kind of turned it sideways, and evidently I had missed this forward panel right here with the Future, because it did not have the shine that the rest of the car had. It had just the shine from where I had mixed the Future with the 50-50 mix with the craft acrylic itself, and that's what happened. If I'd had the Future on there, that would have never happened. I could have just taken, I could have probably taken some warm water and maybe got the enamel up. I don't know, may not. But anyway, what I did was I just went and got another kit. I didn't want to take the time to put it in the pond and strip the paint off, start all over. And the only reason I would have had to put it in the super clean would have been because of the lacquer on the roof. It had just been the craft acrylic. I could have put it in the sink with some rubbing alcohol, came back probably an hour later, and it had all been gone. But because this top had the Tester's one coat lacquer, pearl lacquer, it was going to have to go to the pond. So I just threw it in the pond, got in my truck rather, ran to Hobby Lobby, picked up the last kit of this one they had, took the body out, started to work on it. Long story short, I've got the other body is out of the pond and into the box where the old kit was, or where the new kit is, and the old kit now is out here. The paint has been done on the new body. It looks good. It's been futured. It's been bare metal foil all the way up to part of one door panel and the forward fender panel on the passenger side. So ordered some bare metal foil from Extreme Scale Details, which leads me from Chip. That leads me up to the second part of this video. Here is my entry into the Chevy Cheeseburger tribute build. 67 SS396. I haven't started on. I've opened the box and looked at the parts and everything. Parts looks pretty good. It's pretty clean. Not an overabundance of detail. I'm not going to go just head over heels overboard in detail on this one. I'll probably do plug wires, do fuel lines, Probably drop it, maybe set it down a little bit low. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe do some two-tone interior. I'm definitely going to do a two-tone paint job. I'll be using Testors Aztec acrylics that I used in one of the third video of my 3 video series on the craft acrylic tutorial that I did. The last video with the Aztec Testors Aztec acrylic paint, the gloss green that I did. We're going to be using the gloss, we're going to be using the pearl blue and pearl silver in a two-tone paint job to kind of go along with his blue and silver in his logo. So that's what we're going to be doing, and we'll just see what happens. But for now, that's the update. I hope to have the Impala finished in the next couple of days. Anyways, I probably will finish up my bare milfoil tonight. Try to get the rest of the body trim on maybe tomorrow or the weekend. My wife has a doctor's appointment Friday, so I'll have to go with her for that. She's got to have a in-office procedure done that she won't be able to drive when she comes out, so I'll be going with her to that. And then I hope to have it done by then, and we'll be ready for a final video on the Impala, and I'll get ready to get started. I have a 70 Dodge Challenger that my stepson bought me for Christmas. He's been wanting to know when I'm going to build it, so I may have time to go ahead and do it too in between the Impala and Chip's build. But at any rate, we'll get her done. We'll have 3 done, and after the Impala we'll have 2 more done maybe. We'll just have to wait and see how the time goes. But at any rate, that's where we're at. Until I talk to you again, take care of one another. One other thing, I'd like to thank all my subscribers for the questions that they sent me in PMs asking about or the craft acrylics, what to do with them, who, what, where. I think everybody's enjoyed them. I was glad to do them. Chris Chapman's got a great series out. Chris with Classic Plastics got some that he's done in the past. Take a look at those. With all that being said, hope to talk to you here very soon. Take care of one another. God bless you and your families. See you later.